Greetings and welcome to another segment of Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. My name is Peter Updike, and tonight we're going to talk about antler restrictions. The slideshow that you just saw were all bucks killed in Florida on public land. I showed those to you just to make a slideshow of what Florida has to offer in the way of public land hunting. That last deer that you saw was killed by my buddy Kevin Vaughn. Now that buck was killed on public land in the Withlacoochee State Forest during the archery season. During the archery season, no quota permit required. Now these two bucks, this one also came from the Withlacoochee State Forest. These are both my two best public land Florida bucks. This is a mainframe 10-point. I killed this deer in the Half Moon Wildlife Management Area, and I'm real proud of this deer. That's why he's on the fireplace right now, because I love showing him off. I love having him for a backdrop. And then this deer was killed during a quota hunt. I killed this deer during a rifle season. I think it was the second gun season, and I was really thrilled to kill this deer. And then I killed this one at the end of the season in the Ocala National Forest. This one required a quota permit. This one did not. I killed this deer on an area that's open for the whole season. It's got its own season, but it's open for the whole season. You can come and go as you please and hunt all you want. Hundreds of people, hundreds and hundreds of people hunt this management area. And somehow I was able to kill this deer. Yeah, I'm still scratching my head wondering how'd that happen, but it did. And I'm showing you these to let you know that if I can do it, you can do it. So let's talk about antler restrictions, because I know that I get messages all the time. I get people that message me and they want to know, what tip can you give me? I'm going to the Ocala National Forest. Where should I start? I'm going to the Green Swamp. I'm going to Osceola. Now I hunt all of these management areas from time to time. I love to hunt the Green Swamp and Richland. I'll hunt Ocala. I'll hunt Jumper Creek. I'll hunt Half Moon. I'll hunt Flying Eagle. I'll hunt Osceola. If I ever get down South Florida, I'll hunt Big Cypress. Yeah, I'd love to go down there and hunt sometime. It's kind of a push from here to go, but I'd like to go down there and hunt. But if you're new to hunting and you're wondering about antler restrictions, well, we're not going to talk about necessarily the legality of antler restrictions. We're going to talk about the conundrum of telling what's legal and what's not. So I've got a few deer here that I killed. I thought I would share these with you, just so so maybe you can get a visual aid, and then maybe I have a little bit of a solution to help you train your mind and your eye for what you'll see. Now I've got a little saying that I have tucked in the back of my mind, and what I'm looking for in a deer. I am looking for what I would call a good legal buck. And what's that mean? It means a deer that surpasses the legal requirements. Okay, so here where I hunt, and it changes from management area to management area. Some management areas require 3 points or better on one side. If you go to hunt the special opportunity hunt in Lake Panasoffkee, it requires 4. And a 10-inch main beam, if it does not have 3 points, at least a 10-inch main beam. So the rule reads 3 points or better on one side, or a 10-inch main beam. Now, I think if you go to Gothy, it's different. I think it's a 5-inch antler with a point. What's a point? It's an extra point that's 1 inch or longer. If it's not 1 inch, it's not a point. So I've got a few deer here I want to show you. First one, I killed this deer prior to the antler restrictions being put in place. I killed this deer in the Withlacoochee State Forest. Now, as you can see, it's got a little point right here, but that little point is not legal because it's not a 1-inch point. Now, you might get away with that. I would hope that you would. I would hope that if you killed this deer and a wildlife officer was looking at it, he'd say, you know what, buddy, that's really close right there, but I'm going to let you go. I hope that would be the case. I believe in grace. I believe in grace, and I think that's due us as hunters. The state has put this rule on us, and it's part of the problem with is it 9.5 or is it 10.5? Well, no one can tell. You can't tell. And this deer does not measure up, but I don't know that I could tell if you saw that and this and that. And we're talking about people that are hunting that have never hunted before. Now, I'm an experienced hunter, as many of you are experienced hunters as well. And maybe you can tell just by a glance. Maybe if you see one that's 10 inches, you won't shoot it at all because you're looking for a more mature deer. But some guys are new to hunting and they want to kill their first deer. And they see a deer like this and they want to know, is that deer legal? How can I tell? Yeah, it's a problem. It is a challenge. Of course, now this one is a spike. You would call this a cow horn spike because they kind of come in turn, but you can see they don't come very far forward from that. It's not very wide. His ears would be way out here like this. Ears help determine the size of a rack, okay? The deer's ears are way out here like this, well then that's awful small, right? He wouldn't be legal. All right, so here's another one that's not legal. He's got a tine right there, and if you saw that, you might be hoping, oh, maybe he's got a brow tine, but you can't shoot that deer until you see he's got a brow tine, so you'd be forced to let this deer go, okay? And I came up hunting spikes. That's all we were looking for was spikes. And when they threw this on us, man, I had to relearn my thought process because I was always, if he had 5 inches antler, which is nothing, 5 inches is nothing. Anything that comes up to his ears is going to be legal. That used to be this was legal, but it's not anymore. All right, so here's a good example. All right, I've got this buck here, which I killed last year or year before last. I can't remember. I think I killed this deer year before last. I probably should not have killed this deer. He doesn't have a third point, number one. Number two, he is 11 inches. And all he needs is 1.5 inches off of that, and he's not legal, which is, here. So he's legal on both sides. He's over 10 inches on both sides. He's a little shorter on this side, but he is 11.5, 12 inches on this side, which makes him legal. But there's really, after thinking it through, there's really no way I could tell by looking at this deer whether he was 10 inches or 11 inches or 9.5. If he's 9.5, he's not legal, right? So I would be inclined to let this deer go, but I shot it and probably shouldn't have, and I dodged a bullet. I was lucky this deer was legal. Now this one is much wider. So again, the ears play a pretty good role in determining whether or not a deer is legal. But he's got long tines, but again, with that third one on one side, he doesn't get the pass for 3 points or better. But he certainly gets the pass for long main beams. Now, how can you tell? See how the deer antler comes out and around and then comes out forward. That's something you need to train your eye to look for, as opposed to just coming up, right? Turns and comes forward. Chances are, if the antler turns and comes forward and the ears are kind of on the inside here, that's going to be a legal buck, okay? Again, you need to train your eye for what you're going to see and decide what's going to be a good legal buck for you to kill. And I have discovered a way to kind of watch. I like watching trail camera videos. I look at trail camera videos, and all you got to do is a YouTube search for trail camera videos. There are a lot of them out there. Florida trail camera videos would be what I'd watch. And look at the deer, and as you're watching, decide whether or not you would shoot that deer when you saw it. This will give you your eye and your mind experience at looking at deer and looking at deer antlers. There aren't enough opportunities on public land to get that experience until you've done it for a while. Done it, 40 years, 45 years? And yeah, and again, 35 of those years were just looking, all I need is an antler that big and he's legal and I could shoot him. But I had to retrain myself not to think that way anymore. Anyway, yeah, whether or not antler restrictions are good or bad really doesn't matter to the guy sitting in the tree stand trying to decide whether or not the deer that he's looking at is legal or not. Okay? Every hunter needs to make his own decision on what he's looking for in the way of a deer. Again, let me counsel you to think on a good legal buck. What's that? That's a deer that surpasses the legal requirements. What are the legal requirements? 3 points or better on one side, or a 10-inch main beam, or in some of the other deer management units, they're even less than that. So they're 5-inch antler with a fork. So he's got to have a fork, which is all of these would be legal in that respect. So yeah. Christmas time is here. My book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman, is available at Pat's Pawn and Gun. Go on their website, click on publications. It'll come up for you. All of them are signed, ready to go. Horses tumble down the mountain and planes fall out of the sky. I'm going to share that story with you, the airplane crash. I'm going to share that with you one day on a video. I got some pictures of that. It was a pretty dramatic event. But again, yeah, antler restrictions, well, I'm kind of for them. And then again, I'm kind of not. Love you guys. Have a great Christmas. We'll talk to you soon. See you. Bye.